The Democratic-led House of Representatives is expected to vote Wednesday to impeach President Donald Trump.
Tonight, Washington and the nation are bracing for an historic day with more blistering debate, putting the spotlight on a nation divided. Lynna Lai has the latest and tells us what local lawmakers are saying.
As Republicans line up solidly behind President Trump, the Democratic-led House is gearing up for a vote Wednesday on 2 articles of impeachment, abuse of power, and obstruction of Congress. Meanwhile, Democrats from districts won by President Trump face a delicate balance. Michigan Congresswoman Elissa Slotkin was both cheered and booed for supporting impeachment.
I made this decision out of principle and out of a duty to protect and defend the Constitution. I feel that in my bones.
And New Jersey Democrat Jeff Van Drew, also from a Trump district, signaled plans to switch to the Republican Party.
I think it's a very good thing. He believes in what Donald's doing.
If the president's impeached, a January Senate trial would follow, where Republicans plan to coordinate with the White House, despite taking an oath to do impartial justice.
I think what's best for the country is to get this thing over with.
We reached out to ask all Northeast Ohio congressional lawmakers whether it was important for senators to be impartial. 2 responded by deadline. Republican Bob Gibbs, whose district reaches from Avon to Canton, said in part, "Why should anyone go along with a sham impeachment? Congressional Democrats have been trying to impeach the president with 0 evidence since before he took office, and the media is asking Republicans about impartiality?" We did ask Democrats about impartiality, too. Democrat Tim Ryan, representing parts of Summit, Stark, and Portage counties, responded in part, "I was offended to hear that Republican senators are blatantly saying that they will not be impartial jurors in impeachment. They are breaking that oath by putting party above country." And with lawmakers so sharply divided, what are voters saying? A new Fox News poll found 50% of voters supported the president's impeachment and removal from office. Meanwhile, a new Quinnipiac poll released today says 45% support impeachment and removal. Russ?
And again, the vote is Wednesday. All right, Lynna, thank you.
You bet.